garlic and onion, and let that basically just, completely mush and melt into the sauce. And then I take it out and about maybe I'll skim all that stuff out, take out the bones, and then I'll cook the veggies in it last. So basically, this is just all flavor in here right now.
Nice.
When I smacked my finger with a knife, I felt it like stick in there a little
Oh
bit.
God, stop! I don't want to listen to that. No. Oh God, no. Oh.
Yeah. I think that's why I hit the bone.
Oh my God, Aaron, is this still bleeding?
It's got the bandage on there now.
Oh my God. Are you sure you don't need some urgent care?
Yeah.
How the fuck did you put it in the knife sleeve?
Well,
and
I was
hit your
holding
finger?
I was holding the sleeve like this, and I went to just put it in.
I don't. Sorry, I asked. Hello, welcome to Sunday. Aaron just hurt his finger with a knife. Stop! I know nobody wants to see that, Aaron.
There's a bandage on it. Also, it was a good excuse to give everybody the middle finger.
Oh my God. Nobody has to apologize for leaving. You can come and go as you please. Welcome. I know some of you have been missing the lives. I personally have been resting up. I've been sorting out mentally how I can make life a little less stressful. That is the goal. Yes, Aaron got a tattoo of Fred. I don't know if you guys saw on the live before, but there's Fredo on his arm. Yes, that's it. Aaron is making some beauteous broth. There you go. Aaron, do you want to introduce what's in here?
Pork bones, 2 types of soy sauce, processed, like diced, what would you call it when you do it in a food processor?
Processed.
Yeah.
Like minced?
Minced tomato, garlic, and onion, like 9 different types of chilies, basically a few of everything I found in the cabinet. And spices, black pepper, Sichuan peppercorn, star anise, black cardamom, and some juniper berries.
Juniper berries.
Yeah,
very intriguing.
I just open the spice cabinet and whatever I think looks interesting I throw in
Well,
there.
we shall see how this turns out.
And I'm just waiting for it to come to a boil one more time, and then I'm gonna add one more layer of water, and then it's gonna get covered for like 6 hours.
6 hours. Okay, so this is for dinner.
Yes.
Did you buy anything to soak in here with?
Yeah, there's these nice chilies that look really beautiful, even though some of them were a little bit moldy, but we took care of that. These were $1 from
$1. Did you taste one? Are they
didn't.
spicy?
I should slice off a little piece now to taste. And then I have more cherry tomatoes, and I have lots and lots of carrots that were probably the worst carrots I ever bought.
So you're gonna put those carrots in after?
They'll cook for at least like 30 minutes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Aaron went really hardcore yesterday buying like clearance produce, and I was like, dude, not even I buy shit that is this moldy. Like half of the carrots were full on white fungus growth. I don't know, man. Our boy's getting very adventurous with his budget eats lifestyle.
You inspired me.
I don't. Oh no! I lost my toothbrush behind the oven.
Rip.
Fuck.
I would say from 0 to 1 on the heat level, this is 0.
0. Heard
No.
that, chef. I don't want one. Thank you,
Okay.
though.
Very, very fresh though. Very like crunchy and nice, crispy.
So Aaron's basically like finished cooking. I had timed this live so that we don't have too much Aaron and June conflict on the live. You're welcome.
I know people love that.
Some of you like it. I mean, certainly those are the lives that get me the most ad revenue. Instead of like $6 per night, sometimes I get $12 per night when we have drama on these. So, who knows why? Our world is a mess. But today is May 15th. Yes, I think. Happy mid-May. You've made it halfway through. We are quickly segueing into 2 days of spring followed by 2 months of hellfire summer. So that's really great. That's New York City weather. Yes, thank you so much. I do like these earrings a lot. I got them off of eBay. They were supposed to be garnet, so a redstone, and they were supposed to be a oval shape instead of a upside down pear teardrop shape. But the seller on eBay sent me the wrong earrings, and I was like, I'm sorry. Are you sure these are the right earrings? Because the stones don't look red and they're a different shape. And he was like, I assure you, these are genuine garnet. And I was like, I understand, sir, but these are purple. Do you see the photo I attached? And he was like, oh no, I'm so sorry. I sent you the wrong earrings. And I was like, it's all cool. Not what I expected, but I do like them anyway. And he was like, I feel so bad. Let me send you the other red pair at no cost. And I was like, you know what, man? You made these yourself. You're like an artist selling your craft. Just relist them, and I hope somebody else gets them. So I've been learning to love the accidents in life. This one turns out to be a very beautiful accident, and he was a very nice man about it. So I appreciated that, and I did not want to make his life any harder. So yes, what am I going to cook? I have 2 potatoes that have been here for 2 weeks. Some of those moldy carrots that Aaron got yesterday, I'm gonna process. Everything's probably going to go in the Instant Pot because it's 70-something degrees outside today, and we certainly don't need 2 huge pots going on the stove. I'll snack, you know. I got some Trader Joe's snacks. I got some snacks that I got Lala that she didn't like. But let's chat. I heard some of you missed me. I am here to give you no entertainment.
I miss you, June.
Hey, Dad's here. Hi, Dad.
Who?
Dad. My dad is here.
Oh, Chris.
Yeah.
Hi.
So, how is everyone else? Put your feelings and sadness and joys in the chat box down below. Hi, Fred. Hey, buddy.
Does he smell the stew? Does he smell the broth?
He's like waiting.
If only
like
there was enough room for you in this pot, Freddy.
Oh my god.
It's
Can
not.
you wash this lid? It's filled with fur.
That's flavor. Fur is flavor.
Bye, Fred.
The
Wait.
water turned on, so he left.
Oh, I want to look at Fred a little bit more. Yes, very sad about Buffalo. I mean, until we get rid of gun. Where did Fred go?
I think we should get rid of racism and
I don't know
guns.
where Fred went. Where did Fred go? Freddy? Freddy? Oh. Hi, buddy. You gonna sit there? Do you wanna say hi to peoples? Hey. Hi. Hi, cutie. This morning I stepped on Fred's tail. It was the first time in months that he's hissed at me. I obviously did not mean to step on his tail, but he was 2 inches behind me as I was giving him his breakfast.
I think this finished, June.
What?
I think this finished.
Great, you can sign me out. I was doing a little bit of editing work for the 2nd installment of our Cairo footage. But I think Fred's okay. I've been handling his tails gently, and he does not seem like he's in pain. I hope I didn't break anything, bud. But yes. All right, Freddy, I'm gonna cook. Do you want me to do anything to your broth?
No. If you need to move it to a different burner, you can.
I don't need the burner, I don't think. I'm just gonna process a lot of our
I'm just
random...
waiting for it to boil one more time.
Okay. How was the garlic that I bought?
I used that, so I don't know.
You used, oh, I
Used
see.
that.
You used the cold ones. So which are the carrots for me?
Why are my fingers sticky?
I don't know.
In the smaller bin.
This one?
They're peeled in the smaller bin.
Yeah.
Should I skim off the foam?
It's up to you. Apparently it's just protein. Some people don't like the taste of it.
I'll keep it. I'll filter this lady later anyways. That's a
You'll
lady.
filter this lady.
I'll filter you, lady. Hey, lady!
Looks good. Yes, I know it looks like I have no pants on. I also got a tattoo. It is on my stomach. So I have the waistband hitched very high up, right where there's a gap in the tattoo, so that it's not pinching my skin, because my bandage just came off yesterday. So I'm trying to be really gentle with the skin there. So this is the only waistband that currently works, unless
June hopping on the tattoo train after
Yes.
I make it cool.
I hopped on the tattoo train after Aaron made it cool for all of humanity.
Yes.
But I found a tattoo artist, and they were very nice and accommodating, and they are predominantly a flash design artist, and they made a design that really felt like it needed to be my first tattoo, so I got it. It is not a Fred tattoo. It was on my stomach, which apparently is one of the most painful parts that you could get tatted on, especially apparently for female bodies. Maybe because it's so close to the womb, but I got it. I lived. We'll hope that it doesn't get infected, and once it heals, maybe I'll show you, but not now. It is very itchy right now, and apparently it's going to be like this for at least a couple of weeks. Healing, full healing, can probably take about a month or so. So in this time, I'm not really allowed to strenuously exercise or sweat. It's just going to fuck up the skin if I do a lot of movement. So it's teaching me to be very gentle with my body, which I feel like has never been a lesson that I've had to take before. So, transformative in different senses of the word. Why do people decide to get tattoos in other languages? Especially a language that they don't speak. It's just fascinating. And obviously we all know that there are people who have tattoos that definitely don't say what they wanted to say, but I just find it extremely interesting that that would be a choice. But I guess if you don't know the language, it looks quote unquote exotic, and you consider it more art than word. So I guess that makes sense. But it does result in some hilarious accidents and unintentional endings. Hi, Fred. Did you decide to join us? You want a potato? Want to smell it? Are you a potato cat? Oh yeah, you are a potato cat. I forgot. Oops. Hi, Freddie. Welcome to the kitchen. Time for lickies. Don't let me scare you. I'm just opening up the Instant Pot very gently. Oh, I said don't let me scare you. Aw, come back. Come, I'll give you a treat. Up. 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 Come up. There you go, bud. How is that? Okay, bye. Here is a relatively new knife. This is a Misono Petti knife. It is not the top of the line. The UX10, I believe, is the top of the line for Misono knives. This one is carbon steel, which is why you can start to see this kind of dull patina start to show up. My other chef's knife that I use all the time with a green handle is also carbon steel. I just really love carbon steel knives. They never look shiny or new. They always look kind of weathered and worn. So I'm gonna give this a use. Cuts like a dream, super sharp. It is weighted for lefties, actually. This is not a 50-50 bevel. Which I actually don't know how I'm gonna sharpen, because I've never sharpened an uneven knife like this. So it'll be fun when the time comes. Have you seen my Misono in action before?
Oh no.
It cuts like a dream. Fits my hand really well.
Can I hold it? I know I don't have a great record with knives today.
You can cut a potato if you want.
Oh, you just need chunked?
Sure.
Wow. I've never been able to cut a potato so easily.
Good.
It's much nicer in person than I expected. I thought it was just going to be a boring stainless steel. Is that discoloration?
Yes, from cutting pineapples up.
Oh, okay.
The acid eats away at the carbon steel and gives you a patina over time.
Nice. Well, that makes it look cooler.
Yes. And this is weighted for a lefty, actually. It's not a 50-50 bevel.
Oh.
Yeah. That is the wrong way to hold a knife, by the way, y'all.
Well, I've never cut with my left hand.
This is the first thing I learned when I went to interview for a food job. This is called the pinch grip. The pinch grip. Basically, your index and your thumb should be pinching the heel right here of the blade, and then the rest of your fingers fall into place to just place support. But you should technically be guiding with these two fingers for more accuracy, especially with a smaller knife like this. Thank you for your potato chops.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever show the people how you hold chopsticks?
Yeah, I hold chopsticks the wrong way, I've been told. So if you want to give them a tutorial.
I'll demonstrate the right way. The bottom one, if you don't know, is held securely between your thumb and your palm, and that doesn't move, and only the top one moves.
Today
Now,
is
June,
how to hold your utensils.
June will show
here.
you how her weird way of holding it.
Yes, so I'm a lefty, and obviously not a lot of lefties in Chinese culture. They kind of like smack it out of you, but nobody ever told me how to use chopsticks the right way, and I immigrated out of China a very long time ago, so I actually crisscross my chopsticks like this. It works for me, but I've been told you're not supposed to cross your chopsticks, but this is this is the way. I mean, I'm trying to hold up to a
slippery.
camera. This is the way I do it. I crisscross it.
I don't know how she does that. I've tried to do it her way, and it doesn't make sense to me.
So just do whatever you want to do. It don't matter. like Asian people have told me I hold it wrong. It's not Aaron telling me that I'm holding it wrong. It's like, I think my mom once told me that I'm not supposed to actually cross them. But I feel like different cultures use chopsticks and utensils differently, you know, like there's just so many different etiquettes across cultures. Like, for example, in American table etiquette, you're not supposed to slurp anything. But slurping is a huge facet of eating in many places in Asia, especially when it comes to eating ramen and, you know, like soupy stuff. It just doesn't make sense for you to be using the spoon all the time. So your mileage may vary. You do what works for you. I will not judge you for how you eat things, as long as you eat. So any advice for what I flavor these vegetables with today? I might put some beans in here too, actually. Ooh, you know what? I actually soaked this black barley a couple of days ago and I haven't used it yet, and I think we should. Let me show you what it is. A vegan trying an Asian supermarket. I recommend you get some bean curd, also known as yuba. It's really delicious. But anyway, here is the black barley that I soaked. I think we can make like a potato carrot barley soup. This has been soaking for 3 days, so it's been a very long time. As you can see, it has black streaks on it, kind of like what pinto beans look like, I guess, before you cook them, before the stripes all disappear. And I got this at a Korean specialty goods market called Kimsi Market. I've told you about them before. They gave me like free rice, which was absolutely delicious, but this is all in Korean, so I have no idea what it says. But I know that the English label says product of Korea, and this is black barley rice. And everything else is in Korean, so I cannot tell you any more, but that's what it looks like inside. Just like barley, but a little bit black streaky. And we can add it to our Instant Pot today. Give it a try. Give it a taste. What else can we put in here? You know what? I've been staring at Mom's Whittier, so let me go ahead and soak up some of these Whittier so we can use. What's everybody been up to? Has there been any major changes in anybody's lives? I want to know more about you, because I don't know anything about you. Cool recipes to use up bananas in. I love bananas in smoothies. That's about it. I love eating them with peanut butter. They never really make it into any recipes for me. Congratulations on deleting Twitter and Instagram. I hate Instagram more with every passing day. I don't know what else to say other than I really like following tattoo artists on there, and I like it as a place where I can put down short writings as they come to me, and being a visual diary, but that platform is going to hell. It may be already in hell. I knew the first time I knew something was wrong with Instagram was when they pushed out the shop feature. And I was like, why don't we get sold enough shit in our lives? Yes, everywhere. But that's when I knew that Instagram was starting to pivot a lot of its platform goals into e-commerce, and just obviously everyone just wants more profit, so that was a no-brainer. But when they start censoring the content and rewarding pages differently, that's when you know that the house is trying to use you. You are no longer a guest in the house, you are a servant in the house now. So it's kind of a maybe get out while you can situation. I have not decided to get out yet, but it would be probably a smart decision for me as someone who is currently burning out of life. Do we want to talk any politics so I can get demonetized? If so, you let me know what topic you want to chat about. Eurovision. Ooh, I watched it with friends yesterday. I guess that's political. Ukraine won. Sorry, spoiler alert. Ukraine won with a surprise haul of over 400 points coming in from the televote, which is the audience vote. They were not in the top 3 place, I think, after the jury votes. So when those 400 points rolled in from the televote, we were just like, all right, well, guess there is no alternative to it. I don't think it was a bad song. It was a cool song. It was very well performed, but it was definitely not my favorite. And it was, you know, it's got traditional elements and kind of like a folksy vibe. But just overall, I think there were better songs with better vocals. Spain, which was Aaron's favorite, was amazing. Their performances have always been consistently good. My favorite going into the finals was UK. I just love the song. I feel like I can't remember the last time I heard a Eurovision song that had lyrics that got so existentially grounded and was still a good bop musically. But unfortunately, I don't think his performance in the final was that good. He seemed very overly confident when giving that performance, and the vocals were not consistently good. So Great Britain was second place though, so he definitely had a lot of fan base going in. Anybody else watch Eurovision? I am just cutting up some carrots that Aaron got for very cheap, and they were not very good, so we were trying to use them ASAP before they get even worse. And I have 2 potatoes that were left over from 2 weeks ago. And I'm just throwing them in the Instant Pot. And I have some black barley that I'm going to throw in there too that I soaked up a few days ago. And we're just going to flavor it. Maybe I'll throw a curry cube in there and just keep it simple. Or, I don't know, something. Doesn't matter. We just have to eat the food that's here. Which is good because this week all the videos that I have to shoot for Delish are going to be sweet stuff. So I definitely need some non-dessert elements in my house before I go on a sugar binge, which has never, ever resulted in happy endings. Question for the audience. In your opinion, do you think me putting on these lives is work? I have not gone into American Song Contest yet. I don't have cable, and I don't really have friends who live nearby enough to go over and watch it with them. So it's Eurovision, my friends told me, is equivalent to gay Christmas. So it seemed like such a momentous occasion that I did go over to my friend's house and watch it. But I think the American Song Contest, I just watched snippets on YouTube. Is it work if you like it? Is a very, very good question. I asked this question because I have been trying to think of the times when I'm overworked at work because I have simply too much work being assigned to me, and the times when I overwork at work because I want to do a better job and I'm invested in those projects and I sink more time into it because I know otherwise I would be very unhappy if I didn't sink more time into it. But it becomes a very convoluted discussion with myself as far as how much of my well-being, physical well-being, and eventually mental well-being, because they're all connected, am I able to pay in exchange for pursuing my hobby work or my work hobby. You know, it's just something that you constantly have to negotiate and renegotiate, I think, with yourself. Because I think, unfortunately for me, I have a very habit-forming personality where if I get used to overworking myself, I will continue to overwork myself. And it's kind of like doing drugs, you know? Like, you develop tolerance for these things. You first think, it's not that much work if I just work over 20 minutes, and then 20 minutes turns into 30 minutes, and then a year later, you're routinely overworking 1 to 2 hours, especially in the pandemic when all of our boundaries kind of faded away. All of us kind of got into a pattern of routine overworking for ourselves, and we had different things going on in our lives, and we were valuing the so-called flexible work structure that we just, I don't know, I feel like as far as people who are going back to a more regimented, you know, back to office or whatever it is structure that they have going on for them work-wise, we have to like kind of take a step back and recalibrate, because it is incredibly self-harming to routinely overwork, even if it is something that you enjoy. Like, I have had to fight compulsions this week and last week and the week before to simply go live because I'm in the kitchen. And that was always my reason for going live before, is like, I'm in the kitchen, why not go live? But recently I've been urging myself to just sit still, like just do your work without putting on a live, because I do feel like there is an aspect of my brain that turns on when the camera is on. I don't feel like I'm particularly acting when we go live, but I'm definitely also not in the same mindset when I do go live. So, all of that to say, I think it is work, not necessarily working for the man, but it is work. think the pandemic taught us a lot of things and also made us unlearn a lot of things. And if we do go back to a quote unquote normal again, we then need to think about what we take away from the pandemic and what we have to leave behind. Because they're very different lifestyles. I don't hate all the work that I do. And this is not work that I hate to do, because I obviously have agency over whether or not to put on a live, so I should not hate it when I do put it on live. But that's not to say that I'm not rewiring my brain every time I put on a live. There is some sort of like Pavlovian conditioning that's been happening here, where I go live, I do my thing, and people tell me positive feedback, like, I'm so thankful for your company, you make me feel less alone, and that conditions me to put on more lives, because I'm like, oh yeah, people like this, like, I'm doing something good. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, I'm just saying that is a thing that happens. And I don't really pause to think, okay, what is the effect that it's having on me? So that's why I haven't been putting on lives as frequently. But also I've been using a lot of time that I do have to try to get through the Egypt footage and to edit those. I do feel like those are somewhat therapeutic for me to process, to finalize in a way. Aaron left me some apple core, so I'll be eating those. Media girl, that is what I'm doing. This is a kind of socializing for sure. The funny thing about the brain is that we're always thinking in some capacity, but sometimes most of the thinking is not actually being digested. I think this is where kind of anxiety loops factor into. Certain parts of our lifestyle require us to always be thinking ahead of time, so that we can plan and know exactly what we're going to do and what we're responsible for and what we can get done. And in a way, we train ourselves to always think one step ahead. Our brain is always on. We get tired. And the thought doesn't ever go to, why am I tired? It just kind of stops at, I am tired, and then the brain is still rushing ahead to think for the future and to plan for the future, that we just feel, because of our society's dictation, that we should always just be doing stuff. We don't really just diagnose why we're feeling tired. So when I started feeling tired, I decided I had to just sit with it and do nothing until I can slow down my thoughts into the future and hold them here and be like, what do you need? And a lot of the times I don't know what I need. I just feel frustrated and sad and depressed and tired and stressed out and anxious and all those very bad feelings that we're like routinely trying to slog through to get through our day, because we all need a paycheck. We all need something to keep us going, because our society sucks and doesn't work for us. But sometimes you really do just need to do nothing, or else you will run yourself dry. And you need to just sit with the feeling of guiltiness that you're not doing anything in order to figure out what you actually need to do to be productive. Not for other people, not for your company, not for your own life, but for your own body right now. Like, how can you be productively healing your own body right now? I feel like, at least as far as I see things, our society is always telling us to control our bodies, to make our bodies fall in line. Everything from what trainers tell you in exercise classes in terms of pushing yourself harder, and like just the pervasive diet culture that's around us that's always like, are you trying to slim down? Do you want to look ready for the beach? And I'm like, I wasn't thinking about looking ready for the beach until you told me about it. Just in very insidious, underhanded ways to like tweak our brains to conform to ideals that we weren't even originally harboring. That we don't know how to listen to our bodies anymore. Like, I don't know how to listen to my bodies anymore. I just don't. Like, and now I have to learn it. It sucks. There's nothing more out of control than to live in a society that tells you to control your body all the time, and then to realize that you can't control your body because you don't even know what your body is saying anymore. It's like you're foreign to your body. You're a foreigner trapped in your body. And I feel like that's a lot of where my personal issues come from, is I am a stranger to myself. That makes me feel like a failure on so many different fronts. So our barley's going in. I'm going to save a little bit of the barley because I want to see if we can use this soaked barley to make, like, have you ever had rice milk? I want to see if we can make some barley milk. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to blend it with some ice later. Our Whittier is slowly softening. I will not be putting meat into the pot. I don't have any meat to put into the pot. That's not true. I have like a smoked pork neck that I can put in there. But I was thinking of just keeping it vegetarian, but I was thinking of putting beans in there. Good question. Fantastic question. Okay, these are some really gorgeous dark red purplish beans that I got from LA way back in September when I went on the trip with Aaron. And maybe we'll throw a handful of these in. I don't know what beans these are. I think I got them at like a Mexican grocer. So if you know what these beans are, you let me know. They are absolutely beautiful. I probably should have soaked them beforehand, but the Instant Pot will take care of it. I don't think they are kidney beans, although they might be a form of kidney beans, but the kidney beans that I'm used to seeing are not this wide. These look very wide. I've always liked Whittier. I've never hated Whittier. Whittier was one of those good for you ingredients that Mom always cooked and I always liked. I am so sorry to hear that your dad ruined beans for you. It sounds like there's a lot worse things that happened potentially in your childhood due to his addiction, but I'm very sad that he ruined beans for you because they are one of my favorite things ever in life to eat. Audio is choppy. I'm sorry. I don't know what's... I'm sorry. It could be YouTube. You let me know after you reload what it sounds like. I don't know what to do about... Let me hear what it sounds like. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Testing, testing. Oh yeah, it is choppy. Uh-oh. That's very strange. I don't know if that's my phone or the internet. Uh-oh. That's very strange. I don't know if that's my phone or the internet. Testing, testing, testing. Testing, testing. Sorry guys. I'm just gonna talk less then. Aaron, do we have any curry cubes that are not extra hot?
Sorry, any what?
Curry cubes that are not extra hot?
Not that I'm aware of. But they're golden curry extra hot is the basically hot.
I am cooking a trash Instapot soup of some sort. Stew and soup. All we have is extra hot. That's all we have. No worries. Ow! Just stabbed myself on the corner of this very sharp metal ruler. Eee. How many cubes do you usually use?
One.
I'll use 2. You don't like my pantsless look? You don't have to stay. Ooh, I'm gonna put some water up for tea too. Hi, Pittsburgh. I'm just going to say that this is a beautiful bean. It's like this rich purple color. I'm not sure if it's coming through on the screen, but it's not like kidney bean red. It's purple like eggplant, like Japanese eggplant color. It's beautiful. Hi, Thailand. Hi, Texas. Bye, media girl. I'm sorry for the choppy audio, guys. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Yeah, they are kind of like purple lima beans. I can close my window, but we've not had choppy audio before just because of the window being open. It really does sound like more of a internet thing. Bananas and peanut butter. Although if you make me say it one more time, I think I'm gonna have to change my answer. That is one of my most asked questions. So did we close the window and fix the audio? That's strange. That's very strange. Do we think there's a alien signal interfering and my window is blocking it? Well, you guys keep me updated on what this noise thing is about. I think we can cook up a mighty good conspiracy theory now. I'm gonna grab your brush, Freddie. Come here. You like this brush. Don't even pretend. What do you think, Fred? Hey! No. This is some buckwheat matcha tea. That was definitely way too much. We're gonna have some very strong buckwheat matcha. Or actually, I think this is soba. I keep writing buckwheat, but it's... Wait, buckwheat is soba. Hold on. What is this? Is it barley buckwheat? I think it is buckwheat. Never mind me. Just losing my mind. you guys. This is why I haven't gone live in a very long time. I really don't have my shit together anymore. Most of my teas are from Harney and Sons. That is the brand. So, if you ever buy yourself a carbon steel knife, do yourself a favor and dry it as soon as you can, because it will rust very easily. Good night. Thanks for dropping by. Alright, let's make our barley milk, shall we? Let's see what we got here. I do really like rice milk, but commercial rice milk often has like a lot of oat milks out there, stabilizers, as well as added oils to make it taste better and creamier. I'm not going to be adding anything to it. Homemade rice milk is never as tasty as it is when you buy it in the store, because it's literally just rice and water. Oil will always make things taste better because fat is delicious. But we'll see. I'm just very curious to see what kind of flavor it produces and what kind of texture it produces. Rice can be very gritty. Oat can be very slimy. I'm talking the ones that you make at home. And I wonder if barley will be somewhere in the middle. Got here. Okay, I'm gonna put in, that's about almost a quarter cup of soaked barley. This is not dry, this is completely soaked. It is soft even. I could chew it. It's actually really delicious. got a 1/4 cup of barley. I'm gonna add in a cup of ice because I don't want it to cook. I want to add some cold factor in there to supplement the water because as the Vitamix heats up, it will cook the grain. So a cup of ice. And then I'm going to go in with a cup of cold water. We're all here for Fred, and I'm blocking him. I'm very sorry. I will try to not block Fred. Let's see how this turns out. It's going to be noisy. Right now. So turn off your sound if you don't like noise, or if you have kids who are sleeping, or cats, or dogs. Ooh, very interesting. You want to smell it? He's like, oh. I don't know if you've ever had flax milk. This tastes a lot like flax milk. It's got that kind of like oily omega-3 taste to it. It's not bad. Aaron, do you want to taste some barley milk?
Shortly.
Black barley milk. That's really good. I like it a lot. I'm going to go ahead and make a protein shake with it now. And I'll save a little bit of it for Aaron, right here.
If it's the coffee, I don't.
No, it's just plain barley milk right now. I got sent this for free. This is called Immunity Coffee. I guess it's made for like keto folks who's also vegan. MCT oil, I don't know. It is flavored, sweetened by monk fruit extract. Aftertaste isn't bad. It does give you quite a bit of a caffeine hit, but flavor is nicely balanced. So I don't really know if, it's not a whole lot of protein in here, just 10 grams per serving. So it's not like a protein powder, but it's quite delicious. I don't know how expensive it is, but it's probably very expensive because this container only has 9 servings in it, and usually I feel like when you buy protein powders, it comes with like, I don't know, 24 servings. So for it to come in such a small package probably means it's pretty expensive. Let's drink out of a whatever glass this is. Why not? Oh, there's a Fred hair in it. Hold on. This is a Vitamix blender, aka the best the industry has to offer. Not sponsored. Just the truth, honestly. After having worked in restaurants, Vitamix is the only way to go. Wow, don't I feel fancy? That's good. Not as good as with like almond coconut milk, but not bad. So now you know you can make barley milk at home. It's probably going to be cheaper. And if you decide to capitalize on this and make it the next new non-milk milk, I don't know. I guess you can, but what's the point? Do we really need another alternative milk on the market? Do we? I think this with rum would be really good, actually. I mean, we don't need a Sunday stream. We don't need anything, do we? But I would say the main difference between a Sunday stream is that it's pretty free to you, and another milk on the market is probably not going to be very free to you. So that's the main difference in anything being produced in society right now is, are we producing it just for the benefit of churning profit, or are we producing it because there's actually people who would enjoy it and consume it without it really making us sink even further into the grind? Do you see yourself doing anything besides YouTube? I don't really see myself doing much of anything, honestly. I think I'm one of those people who can do anything for a living if I had to. That's your choice if you want more knives. I'm just saying, I have them. I'm not trying to influence you to buy more shit. Because if I were, I would be making a profit off of it and linking you to the specific product so I can make, I don't know, commission off of what I link to you. But here's Fred. Fred is here to tell you that you don't need more things in your life. You really don't. You know? Having a cat would be nice, though. You should probably check out cats for adoption in your area. Right, Fred? Yeah, and take naps. and like, you know, self-care, because you gotta keep yourself clean and neat, because if you don't, you're gonna feel like shit, and then you will become shit. So above all else, maintain yourself, maintain your sanity, and maintain your health. Hello, Hungary. Hey. Hey. Alright, well, it's just gonna be Fred Cam for a while, I guess. Freddie, do you want to smell my coffee shake? Freddie, no. Can you get out of the trash, please? Hey. Thank you. Yes. No more trash. Come around. Very good. I think setting up a Patreon would be work. And it would also shift my mindset to how can I monetize more shit? And I truly, honestly, just need a break from thinking about money, thinking about profit, thinking about income. Because I'm very tired and I truly don't have more mental space to think. Patreon is work. It's not just like a steady stream of free income from your Good Samaritan supporters. It is going to cause frustrations and it's a learning curve. I don't know anything about it, you know? So. Y'all have a Discord already. I don't need to set you up a new one. Alright, it is time to show and tell the newest snack that I got from Trader Joe's and give you a review if you're interested. Fancy cheese crunchies, and it is fancy because it has truffle flavoring in it. And ooh, what are we congratulating Karen on? Yay, congrats! Is that Bachelor of Social Work? It looks like cheese doodles, but without the orange. And I would say it's got a pretty pronounced truffle flavor. So if you like truffle, this would be your snack. For me, I think these were $3.49 as opposed to the same size bag of normal cheese crunchies for $2.29. I would honestly just rather spend $2.29 for the originals. There are Ube Pretzels? Shit. What does truffle taste like? Dried porcini mushrooms? They're kind of fungus, so they taste like mushrooms, but more intense, a lot more perfumey. I also got this for Grandma because Grandma loves crunchy snacks, but these are made mostly of potato and not corn, and she does not like them. She says the flavor is not good. I've learned that Grandma likes corn-based crunchy snacks and not potato-based crunchy snacks. Which is fine because I love these. You can grab these at Duane Reade and Walgreens. Oh my god, 100 degrees in Vegas? Jesus. It was kind of cloudy and rainy earlier today and all of yesterday, but now it is very sunny. I think you should skip the crawfish boil, personally. It's just way too hot. If you had me choose between these or the truffle crunchies, I would choose these, for sure. Welcome back. Freddie's waiting for you.
Smells amazing in here.
Yeah, I don't know what I cooked. What should I have next? Oh, yes, this. So, I don't know if I told you guys this, but Grandma's newest favorite fruit is pineapple. She loves good strawberries, but as soon as she hits a bad strawberry, she's like, I don't like strawberries, period, anymore. She hasn't hit a bad pineapple yet because I've been buying her like the ripest ones and trimming it myself. When I gave her canned pineapple, she didn't like it. Grandma is a connoisseur of good taste. The only things that I make for her are the things that I have to spend over an hour on. And she ends up liking that. But I cored her pineapple today and I kept the cores for myself. I also have some chopped up mango, so I'm gonna have that. And then I'm gonna have some yogurt. So that's what I'll be snacking on. Are you ready to taste the barley milk?
Yes.
So as you can see, even just like, did we blend this 10 minutes ago? It's already settled to the bottom. So this is one of those homemade milks that does separate. Let me lid it and shake it a little bit, or just spoon it a little bit. So this is just water and the black barley that we got from Kinsey Market. Is that really how low you want it?
No, it isn't.
You want it more fire?
Yeah, I did. I turned it up.
Because it still looks very low. Is that enough? You want it at like a bubble, right?
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that low.
What do you think? No? don't like it?
It tastes neither rich nor sweet.
I didn't add sugar. Do you want me to add sugar?
Yeah, it's failing both tests of being a milk. I would say the only thing that makes that a milk is it's a white liquid.
Yeah, obviously. Milk isn't sweet though.
Milk has a natural level of sweetness to it.
Okay. I'll give it some maple syrup.
Wasn't lactose sugar? Yeah, we need to stop calling fake milks that aren't even remotely close to milk. Yeah, better. Definitely better. Barley milk, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Never had that before. Well, I guess I won't be again. Soy milk is still my favorite alternative milk.
The Chinese version or the
Yeah,
American?
the Chinese one. Like we had at the Korean market that one time that I still remember because of how amazing it was.
The
R.I.P.
one-
Aussie Plaza.
Yeah, Aussie
in
Plaza.
Flushing.
That was it.
Mm-hmm.
That was so sad when they closed, man.
I love regular good or like organic whole milk, but that's really the only alternative milk that gives real milk a run for its money for me. Is like really good Asian, or I guess specifically Korean, like thick sweetened soy milk. So good.
That was
Well, I
sweet.
want some. I feel like it was, or maybe it was just so rich and creamy that I thought it was sweet.
Could have been. Also, you know that soy milk, like Asian soy milk, is cooked, so it's not raw.
Okay.
So I bet you, if I strained that and cooked it, it could taste different.
Maybe. Nice.
How's it smell?
Great.
How's your walk?
Good. How's your belly?
Itchy. Really itchy.
Just let Fred scratch it for you.
I don't think that would be a very good idea for anyone involved.
What's the problem for Fred?
He might start to want to eat me because he realizes I could be a food
He might
source.
develop a taste for human flesh.
Yeah, could be.
And then go on a murder spree.
Mm-hmm.
A murder spree cat. Gentle wheezing murder spree cat. Put the phone up so they can hear his gentle wheezes.
He already had yogurt today, right?
A tiny bit. You can give him more.
No more.
Yes, more.
No more.
Yes, more.
It's my yogurt, Fred. Are we just all staring at Fred?
Hmm.
Can cats eat mangoes?
I don't know. I think Fred wouldn't eat a mango is the answer to that. If you can get Fred to eat a mango, I'll give you $10 trillion.
Wow.
Yes.
You don't have that much money.
I'd come up with it. I'd ask friends and family. These bandages are great. I've washed my hands multiple times with it on.
Which ones? Next Care?
Next Care cleaners,
Yeah,
yeah.
Next Cares are my favorite Band-Aids. All done, Freddie.
Did you let him wait?
Yes.
Good.
Bye, Godzilla Pie. So yeah, I'm not gonna be cooking anymore. The Instant Pot still has 18 minutes left on it. I don't know. I can keep the live going, or we can say goodbye for the week. Until further ado, I have no preference because I have no plans because I can't do anything with my tatted stomach. The broth is Aaron's. I believe he will be adding vegetables to it and just basically making himself a fresh vegetable soup every day with that as the base. Does anybody else eat their pineapple cores, or am I just a weird one? I feel like they're kind of fibrous, but they're perfectly edible, and their taste is really nice, kind of like the rindy part of watermelon. You know, I feel like everyone just eats the red part of watermelon, and nobody ever eats the white part of watermelon, but the white part of watermelon is actually really crispy and refreshing. And my mom actually used to use it in a stir fry where once you apply heat to it, it tastes a little bit like cooked cucumbers. So I'm a fan. Ooh, how do you freeze dry stuff at home? Do you need a special machine? The core is less juicy and harder. But some of us like to work for our food, you know? Suck the bone dry and chew on it. Let's see what's going on in the news. Always a bad idea. Would not recommend. Okay, yes, mass shooting, great. 1 million people died from COVID in the US, wonderful. What else? Too much church in the state? Sounds about right.
Tell me some good news.
Student debt is crushing. Canceling for everyone is still a bad idea. Really? Who wrote this piece?
Dude, good news.
The good news is pineapple core and yogurt is delicious. Highly recommend that you throw it into a smoothie, maybe. The bad news is the news that you see on NewYorkTimes.com. Terrible. Let's cross out of that page. We are done with the news for today, folks. That was fun. Bye. Have a good day at work. Wow. Yeah, that's why we don't read the news, folks. It's not really going to help anyone, is it? I've been thinking about the role of media. For sure, knowledge is good. But I feel like we've reached a point in society where knowledge is not good anymore. In terms of people using the word knowledge to cover a lot of things that aren't actually knowledge. But then we still consume it and digest it as if it is. As an example, like when food science comes out, and all of a sudden we learn that fat is bad for us for 10 years. And then the next 10 years is sugar is bad for you. And then the following 10 years is everything's not good for you. And then you start to uncover who propagated these various strains of knowledge, much like a virus. Slowly killing us and making us miserable. I don't love cantaloupe. They actually make my gums itchy, so I think I'm a little bit allergic to it. But I don't hate it. See, when we throw out blanket statements like sugar is really bad for you, that kind of oversimplification vilifies a lot of foods and then alters our mindset to be, that's a bad food. Stay away from it, lest you be a bad eater, which equals a bad body, a bad mind, a bad person, and a bad lifestyle. Sugar is not bad for you. Added sugars that are processed and extremely prevalent in all sorts of processed foods is probably not good for you. Because the more processed something is, in terms of going through machine and refinement, strips away nutrients and isolates certain, whatever properties to target a certain taste bud. And food industries use that facet of a single ingredient to make you addicted to something. So added sugars, added processed sugars is probably bad for you. But everything that we eat has some sort of sugars in it. And not all sugars is bad for you. In fact, your brain needs sugar to function. And if you don't give your body sugar, it will suffer. This is why when we have headlines that come out that say, eliminate this from your diet to lead a much healthier lifestyle, it's almost always very definitely biased, but it's just so skewed and it doesn't tell you the whole picture. And it's also one way of disseminating info that makes you reliant on the person giving you that info instead of thinking for yourself. And the fact that not every body processes nutrients the same way, that depending on how you grew up and what cultures you grew up in, you respond to your environments in different ways, how genes play into it. We don't even know our bodies that well yet. Like, there are so many different schools of thought regarding what causes depression. You know, brain chemistry is our predominant one that we've believed in, but in the past 10 years, some people believe that there's actually like a brain, so to speak, in your gut. And your gut is made up of different kinds of bacteria. And, you know, there is a whole strain of discussion coming out saying like what you eat influences how bad your depression is, because what you eat affects what kind of bacteria thrives in your gut, and that causes some sort of effect on your mental health. Everything is related. Everything is always changing. The way we understand things and the way we look at things is always changing. So just be careful what you consider to be truth. I don't know a lot of things. I just wish that more people could be like, we don't know a lot of things. But our world only functions on selling you, hey, we know this. We know what we're talking about, and you should trust us. You shouldn't trust me. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So Jasmine, I think you're very behind in the live because you're just responding to the potato skins that I'm throwing away, but if you ever get up to this portion of the live where I'm talking to you about the potato skins, I actually roasted potato skins in a Budget Eats episode, and I like them until I realized that if your potatoes are tinged with green, they give off a very astringent, bitter, and drying effect in your throat, which is very unpleasant for me, and considering that it would be a byproduct, and I would be turning on a whole oven just to roast off the skins. I'm not going to bother with it. But yes, if you do have your oven on, you can definitely roast the potato skins. They are fantastic chips. Oh my gosh. Lala not only hates vegetables, she also hates potatoes. Like, I think she associates those greens and like basic cheap starches like potatoes with the kind of poverty and starvation that she had to grow up in because she lived through 2 war times and the Cultural Revolution. And so now she's just like very averse to anything that reminds her of having to eat whatever you could get your hands on. So even with the steamed buns that I made for Grandma, I put a little bit of like fried leeks in there, and they look green. She's picking them out, and every time I give it to her, she's like, next time you make it, don't put anything else in here. And she will like throw out all the little bits of leeks. I think it is a mind thing. Obviously, it's not really vegetables, it's more of an aromatic, but she sees green and she tosses it out. It's also very much a mental thing that she thinks she doesn't like sweet things and she refuses to eat sweet things because, as you can see, she loves pineapples. And also the nurses have begun to give her little tiny cartons of Ensure, which is a pretty sweetened, vitamin-packed dietary supplement. And she keeps telling me, every day I go, she tells me, the nurses give this to me, and one of them told me that this is filled with nutrients and it's really good for your body. And I'm like, yep, she's not wrong, but there's also a lot of sugar in there, Grandma, because it's for people who are like weak, and obviously your body needs sugar. And I tell her, like, I thought you don't like sweets. I thought you don't like desserts. I thought you don't like sugar. And she was like, yeah, you're right. Like, I guess this is sugary, huh? But she loves it. She also loves ice cream. So there is a kind of cognitive dissonance happening with Grandma where she's like, I definitely don't want this in my body. But then if you don't tell her and she doesn't connect the dots, she will still enjoy them. And I feel like there is a Grandma in all of us doing that, where our society has labeled certain food groups to be bad or evil or unhealthy, and then we convince ourselves that we don't like those things. Not because we don't like how they eat, but because they stand for something that is not conducive to us being healthy. And, well, society can prescribe to us what healthy means, but I don't actually think any of us know what healthy means. Because does healthy mean living to 100 or never dying? That's kind of what advertisement is telling me. Never grow old, always be in shape, get rid of your wrinkles, and stay young forever. Is that healthy for us? I think that is like the most detrimental mindset for us to slip into, because it makes ourselves become enemies with ourselves, because none of us can actually stop the aging process. And to make us at war with a natural process means that we will never be at peace with nature. And I'm not talking about like mountains, trees, and rivers nature. I'm talking about the nature in all of us, which is this cycle of flourishing and decaying. And we're currently not okay with the decaying part of the cycle, which is a very essential part of the cycle. So I think that's really detrimental to us. How does Lala get enough fiber? Beats me. I do give her fruits every day. I rotate through pineapple, strawberry, sometimes apples. She doesn't really like apples. You know, you get fiber. Like, even the snacks that I give her, she loves tortilla chips that have some sort of fiber in it. Whatever. I'm not gonna worry about how she gets enough fiber. Mom worried about all of these things all the time, but like, I can't even maintain my own body sometimes. I can't really maintain another person's body like that. I'm going to let the pot naturally release its pressure to get all the cooking power out of it. So I will just turn it off, and once that little doobly-doo, that drops, then I'll open it. So it'll be a while. And yeah, like the big picture, she's 94. I don't know what Mom was thinking. I feel like Mom was trying to make Grandma stay alive forever, which was harming both of them. She used to like make Grandma eat vegetables because she too was worried about Grandma not getting enough fiber and like not being able to pass stool. But I mean, isn't that just a part of getting old? And at what point? It's kind of like the same argument that the Chinese government is using to keep people quarantined and locked down. Shanghai has been locked down since April. Beijing is apparently following suit, region by region within the city. And they are trying to follow a zero COVID policy where they are trying to eliminate the virus completely. And at what point does it become worth it to eliminate a virus when your people are not allowed to live? Like, is that still life preservation? What is that doing to the quality of life of the people who are still supposedly alive? So it's always a constant debate and negotiation with ourselves and our society regarding what makes life worth living, right? And I don't think there's one right answer. I think all of us have to learn, if we care, to answer that question for ourselves and to prioritize for ourselves what makes life worth living. I'm just not sure society has actually nurtured us to think in this way, because it's not going to help our current framework for us to be able to think independently. You want more vertical storage for me? It would be great, I suppose. But then imagine it just toppled over one day and crushed Fred. Could happen. Not saying it will, but could. Swanky Angelo said, I'm so surprised that millionaires wanting to live forever seems kind of strange. I think for the people who want to live forever, I really want to ask them, what do you want to live forever for? It's kind of like people accumulating wealth, and I'm like, what do you want to do with that money? Do you want to take over the entire world? And if so, what is the point of taking over the entire world? I think a characteristic and a feature of our society where we have been trained and we've internalized this need to always dangle the carrot in front of ourselves. Like, instead of someone else dangling the carrot, we've learned to dangle the carrot in front of ourselves, which is like the most horrible outcome. And that is why probably capitalism is so successful right now, because we've learned how to police ourselves, right? Nobody has to do it for us now. There is no teacher telling the students you have to pass this test. Like, we've all internalized at a certain point that we have to pass this test. I guess looking back now, the bad students were the woke students, right? But the simple fact that I refer to them as the bad students means that there's still a part of me that's just like, oh, you're not supposed to rebel. You're not supposed to fail at school. You're supposed to succeed at school. How is it that we've come to so successfully program people to prize this arbitrary standard of success? Fascinating. I'm also not sure that if you have enough money that you have no stress. I feel like in order to get to that level of wealth and to actively work towards stacking even more wealth on top of that, that you are stressing yourself all the time to do that. Of course, we all know money grows money, so if you already have like millions and billions, it will just propagate itself. But I'm thinking that all of our top billionaires are probably still working to even accumulate faster more wealth. I have to go pee. are we doing on battery? We're at 2 hours, and I have 29% battery. Is there anything else you guys want me to hear? Want me to bullshit on? I can spin bullshit really well, because I was an English lit major. I'm also not saying bullshit in a derogatory way, because our world is just made of mostly pure bullshit anyway at this point. So crafting bullshit is a skill, and a very valuable one at that. Do you agree with Musk letting Trump back on Twitter? Yeah, why not? There's a lot of shit on Twitter. What's one more? And also just the fact that we seem to prize ourselves on the freedom of speech, but we don't actually. I think it was a wrong move to ban Trump from Twitter, because there will be other venues for him. And people like him. And censorship doesn't do much except to throw fuel on the fire, I think. Guys, chill on the heavy questions. Whatever you want, man. I asked for questions. I will answer anything. Thoughts on death and afterlife. I asked my grandma this. I agree with her. We don't know. No one knows. No one knows. So what's the point? You can think about it if it brings you fodder, if it brings you content into your life while you are living, but nobody knows. There's no point in fighting over it. Looks good. I just opened it.
Oh, cool.
Bubbly.
Yeah.
Yes, any question. You can ask any question. Whether or not I choose to answer it will be another issue altogether. But
What's your social security number?
I'm not going to answer that on live. That's dumb.
Okay, well.
Although, when I sent a book to a viewer, I unfortunately put like a photocopy of my social security card in there because I was using it as a bookmark when I was reading that book myself. But I hope, she was nice enough to destroy it. Am I still with Delish? For now. We won't know what happens in the future. And do they talk to me about my live streams? No. The sign of a good consultant is the ability to lie with conviction. I'm also not sure how I feel about that, but I'm also pretty sure that I agree with that. What is the point of having industries in this society if you can't lie well? Because at the end of the day, none of us have answers. We just have to pretend we have answers so that other people can stop freaking out. Everything that we do in society, everything that we do in our lives is to bring ourselves some sort of acceptance and peace. And it's only when another person comes in to tell you with good, solid authority, this is the truth, that we feel settled. If they can lie well, then they give us this ability to believe in them. And that is what sells stuff. If you tiptoe, if you're unsure, if you flip-flop in presidential debates, people won't vote for you. You gotta fake it till you make it. Would you ever be a surrogate? No, because I'm an anti-natalist. If you can't have babies, I consider that to be good news for humanity. Sorry for you if you want babies, but from my anti-natalist point of view, that's a good thing. So I'm certainly not going to help people who can't have babies, because I don't want to help anyone have babies. Favorite ice cream or frozen treat? The gelato that I had in Naples, Italy. I dream about it sometimes. There's a lot of good stuff that I had in Ice and Vice, which unfortunately shut down forever in the middle of the pandemic. It was like my Salt and Straw of the East Coast. It was the best ice cream place in New York City. They had such innovative flavors, and their ice cream consistency was always consistent, and their service was amazingly friendly, and just can't say enough good shit about it. Unfortunately, they're no longer, so. Are you saying that me refusing to be a surrogate because I don't want the world to have babies is a mean thing? Because, yes, checks out. I'm not a nice person all the time. I'm going to have to be mean sometimes, because to be a nice person all the time means that I always agree with someone else. To be a mean person means that I have different values, and I'm standing my ground, and I'm making my stance known. So I have no problem being a mean person. I just don't want to be a hurtful person, if that makes sense. In terms of dealing actual, concrete violence. But I think avoiding birth is the opposite of dealing violence. Everything about the process of birth is violent. It commits violence on the body of the mother and the child's. And if you think about it, I've always thought it ironically apt that babies are born crying, like shrieking. I've always thought that to be the perfect metaphor for what it means to be coming into existence. If it weren't for COVID lockdowns in China, would you want to visit China? Where would you go and what would you do? Yes. The last trip that Aaron and I took internationally before COVID hit was to Hong Kong, Chengdu, and Hanoi, and it was a really good trip. We loved the food in Chengdu. I think there's so much to explore in China. Obviously, if we are allowed back in China, my first project to complete is to get Lala back to Beijing. It's where she wants to be. Yes, Aaron wants to go to Chongqing, but fuck Aaron. Fuck all of my own desires, because like my number one desire is to get Lala to her final ideal resting place, right? Like, let's not beat around the bush. She's fucking 94 years old. She could die any year, or she could be 103 and I will be here miserable for the next 7 years trying to take care of her. But whatever, 10 years, that would be 10 years. But whatever the case is, right? I want to see that my grandmother has as happy an ending as she can. With China's lockdown happening, I can't get her back. Like, I don't even know if she's going to survive the trip in her current medical conditions. Plus, adding on quarantine and bureaucracy and so many layers of hoops to jump into, it's impossible right now. So that is a major thing that I am trying to, like, not feel bad about, not feel stressed about. I'm just trying to take it day by day. So if you had the choice, you wouldn't have been born? Yeah, I think if I had the choice, I wouldn't have been born. It was a thought that occurred to me first in my adolescence that, like, you know, I did that whole teenager thing where I was just like having fights with my parents, and I would always resort to my trump card, which is, well, I didn't ask to be born, and it's true, I didn't ask to be born. And to think of all the hurt that I could have not experienced, I think it would have been fine. I've gone through deep depression, I've gone through suicidal ideation, I've gone through troubled relationships with eating more than half of my life now, and eating is something that you have to do on a daily basis. I'm not saying there's been no joy in my life, I'm just saying there's been a lot of unhappy things in my life. So if you were to put those things on a scale, maybe they even out to 0, at which point, you know, then it's your choice to play the game or not, right? The fact in our culture now that we've made consent such a big thing, it is the ultimate philosophical paradox that our lives do not start with consent. Nobody consents to being born. Nobody can consent to being born. So what do we do with that juxtaposition of us as a species trying to value consent when none of the foundation of our lives are built on consent? Like, there's no way you can... I'm gonna plug you guys in, just in case we have more to rant about, but in no way can I measure life to say, has this existence been worth it? Because there's nothing else for me to compare it to. Like, this is the only life that I have to live. This is the only life that I have lived. I can't compare it to anything except abstract ideals and worst case scenarios of what else could have happened in life. And no, I haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, but I'm going to, so no spoilers, please. And I know that this is probably very apt for that movie's general plot and meaning, but it's something that I've thought a lot about. It's just so fucking confusing that we seem to applaud life as a good thing when we actually don't know what it means to not be in existence. Because all we have known is our consciousness. How can we assign value to something if not in relation to its opposite? And there's no way we can grasp what the opposite of living is because we haven't done it. Or maybe we have in a cosmic sense, but we certainly in our current iteration can't recall it. The movie is called Everything Everywhere All at Once, and it stars Michelle Yeoh, and it's about like parallel universes or alternate universes, one of those. I'm very interested in seeing it. I feel like it will make me cry a lot, and I feel like it's a very well done, wacky movie. If you love cooking and food, is it too late to get into it at 28? No. I've known people who have worked in finance and tech and switched in their 40s to food. It's never too late to do what you love as long as you can afford to not be punished by society for it. So how much do you have banked to be able to afford to let yourself live on potentially minimum wage for the next few years, you know? Because our society does not reward labor equally. And unfortunately, people who work in the food industry are not rewarded as well as people who work in other industries that propel the accumulation of capital and wealth. Yeah, Freddy. Bye, Emlong. Yeah, and my grandma was saying very similar things to Adrian too, that she's she can't believe how much we have in society right now, how easy life is. She was like, you know, it's May now, and that's when they used to harvest wheat, and, you know, back when people still had to do everything by hand, even if it's storming outside, especially if it's storming outside, people had to, like, go in the rain and in the flood to harvest their stuff, or else there would be nothing to eat, you know? So in Grandma's point of view, hi Freddie, this is the happiest I've been in days. What a silly bean. You know, we have a lot in our lives now that should make our lives easier. Somehow, a lot of us are still not leading easy lives. So there's something very strange and bad happening here that doesn't add up.
I think an interesting thing about this whole existence versus non-existence thing, like what if you were never born? Like how would you feel about that? Like if people assume that existence is always the preferred thing to non-existence, like why aren't you mourning the millions and millions of potential people every year that aren't born that could theoretically be? I'm not talking about abortion, that's a different thing. I mean like all the women that could be getting pregnant every year all the time. You know, like there's millions of lives that could exist that but don't, right? But everyone would agree that if everybody just lived their lives sort of maximally producing as many humans as possible, that would be a pretty shitty world. Like we already have a pretty shitty environmental problems and other problems because of overpopulation. But imagine if like that was everybody's moral goal, was just every year a woman cranked out a new baby. You know, like
I think that's what the government is trying to get us to do.
Right, you're a fertile woman and it's like you birth 10 to 15 children in your life, just whatever your body can possibly bear. There is no preferred, not existence and non-existence have no inherent value to either one. There's no preferred state. There's no intrinsic value to either one. They are both parts of the universe. They are both parts of the that which is or is not. And so you can't really like assign a moral value to existence versus non-existence, I think.
Because we just don't know.
What?
The good and the bad.
Well, there really is no good. There is no like, final force out there saying like, it is better to exist than not exist, or vice versa. It just is, and so, you know. Somebody
just said it's no accident they want to restrict abortion rights so soon after so many working people died from COVID. In my opinion.
I don't think it's related to COVID. This has been a push that the Federalist Society and right-wing judges and politicians have been doing for decades, ever since Roe started. I think it's unrelated. They would have done this with or without COVID.
Or you can say everything is related. We just don't know.
Yeah, somebody was in my DMs recently talking about like, there's some meme I posted that I was like, I consent to a woman and a man, and there was a baby, like in a fetus in the womb saying, I don't. Isn't there somebody you forgot to ask? Mm-hmm. And he was trying to say, well, doesn't this apply to abortion too? Because it was about conception. And I was like, the baby at that point doesn't have any memories, feelings, thoughts, or anything attached to it, right? It's essentially, has no preconceptions and has no history and has no attachments to the world. So at that point, aborting the fetus is a neutral act. And I would say, me being an anti-natalist along with June, is more of a good act than a morally negative act. But it's like there's no...
But also coming from a nihilist, there is no such thing as a good act.
Well, I'm not a nihilist, but if I were to assign it, a philosophical, like, moral value, I would say it's more of a good act than a neutral act. But, there is no value to existence inherently, is what the point I'm trying to say.
Right, we make the meaning.
Right.
We make the value.
If you never existed, you would not have been here to be upset about your non-existence.
Right. And those of you who say, well, we would miss you, you would have never known me, so you wouldn't actually miss me, because you can't.
That's the exact same thing as saying, like, oh, I'm going to theoretically conceive of my best possible friend or my partner or my lover and pretend that they could have been born, and I'll be really sad that they don't exist, this theoretical person that never existed. It's like, yeah, they could have, or somebody could have been really shitty and, like, mistreated you. It all balances out in the end. So, Yeah. Don't get caught up in your sentimental attachments to the things that are around and try to assign them a philosophical...
Well, Aaron, as soon as you say don't, it's going to do reverse psychology on people.
Right. But,
take no positions, then nobody can fight against you.
yeah. In the alternative universe where June exists, or in the alternative universe where June didn't exist, nobody would be mourning her non-existence. Just like nobody here would mourn...
my mom's death.
What?
Nobody who didn't know if you didn't know my mom, her death would not have hurt you.
Well, what I was saying is just like you don't mourn the millions of people that theoretically could exist but don't, just because women are not getting pregnant at every possible moment all the time. Thank God.
I mean, that's the thing with Aaron, right? He always sounds so certain, so it is always going to get a rise out of people, because then when you sound so certain, people want to fight against you. That's why the best kind of fake it till you make it is to make people think that you're not trying to tell them anything. You have to make them think that they came up with the thought themselves. I don't think anybody can trump Freddie. Right, Fred? You're the best. Because you don't talk. Fred is the winner here. You can't lose if you don't talk. I mean, late-term abortion, probably pretty gross from a visceral point of view, because it starts looking like a baby. But then you start to think of all the aspects of our society where we actually do just murder people and rape people and destroy people's lives. And we don't actually support a lot of people's lives, and we don't think about it because it's not as visceral. But I would say that that is more of a torture and abuse than a late-term abortion. I'm not saying late-term abortions are good, y'all. For a nihilist like me, there is no good in the absolute sense. I'm just saying there is worse, and we are already doing worse. Fried? Look at him. Look at Fried. Just chillin'. Just chillin' with his booty. Booty, booty. Boop, 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 boop. He's like, oh no, you don't. He's definitely giving me the glare. Aaron, did you give him snacks?
Not today.
Oh no, Fred.
Come here.
Oh no, Fried. No snacks. Okay, so now we're saying in the case of preserving the mother's health, we can accept abortion. I would ask us to think beyond just the physical health and think about the economic health of the mother, think about the mental health of the mother. Even if I were pregnant and my body isn't at risk of dying if I were to carry a pregnancy to term and give birth, what if I only have $15,000 and it's not going to be enough to last me in rent until the end of this year?
$15,000?
Yeah.
Then you have way more than I think most Americans have.
Aaron said I would have way more than most Americans have. And that is the sad thing, right? I give birth to the baby, I can't provide for the baby. I can't provide for myself. Eric Adams, our mayor in New York City, is arguing for rent increases. What is going to happen to the baby and to me after this year?
The average American savings account balance is $4,500.
Average American savings account balance, Aaron just Googled this, is under $5,000.
36% of Americans don't have enough money on hand to cover $400 emergency.
36. Over a third of Americans can't cover a medical bill over $400. What is going to happen to me, even if I come out of that birthing process alive, under this year where I don't have enough financial resources to exist in the world that does not care for anything else other than me having financial resources? We don't give a shit about people who are too poor. We just come up with excuses to blame them for not having enough resources. They didn't work hard enough. They didn't stay smart in school. They weren't good students. They weren't good people, whatever. They're drug addicts, whatever. We come up with so many excuses, and yet we don't really look into why we have so many people who don't have resources. So fuck that. If you can excuse an abortion because you're looking out for the mother's safety, think about what you're actually saying. I'm willing to forego the baby to save the mother. You can save the mother in more ways than one. But we don't want to think about that. We should stop justifying a world that has already begun to look at us as individual units of production. That's all we are in this society. We are either capable of production and reproduction, or we're not. And if we're not good individual units of production and reproduction, then we are bad. That is how we are judged right now, and that is how we are treated right now by most systems that exist. Yes, Freddie, I know. You're the best. Do you think Fred gives a shit if you have an abortion or not? He just wants treats. And treats you shall have, my darling. Treats you shall have. At least Fred believes in the tangible and the concrete. This is something that he can eat and enjoy and devour straight away. The way we have learned to hoard resources and wealth and power and control over other humans is abstract. It is not concrete. What can you do with that power? It is all in your head. That is the ultimate slavery, isn't it? To let yourself be controlled by something that will never, ever, 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 ever be tangible. That is the carrot on the stick. That is the thing that we draw for ourselves in our mind. And that is the thing that we will never get to eat in the end. So, yes, I rat on capitalism. It is in vogue to do it. And I say yay to socialist policies and whatnot. But I don't actually believe in socialism or capitalism as a healthy alternative that is viable, because we just can't do it. I don't believe in our species. I don't believe in the species that has created this current society. Even if we raise this down and burn this shit up, we will probably likely get back to where we started. There's just really nothing to do than to opt out. That's it. Yeah, I know our species can and will evolve, but I don't really care. I don't really care. It's been a while. That pressure has not gone down yet. So I'm not sure how much longer of this rant we can carry on for. Fred, what do you think? Should we open up the pot or no? Should we let it come to decompress on its own? We do end up thinking about just ourselves, but we also have to recognize in that one fell swoop that even when we think about ourselves, it is never, ever, ever purely just about ourselves, because we are social creatures. All of our decisions, even the selfish ones, are based on this reflexive, what will other people think of me if I do this? Even if it's unconscious. So I would argue that being selfish isn't a bad thing, but make sure that you actually know who the self is that you're serving. Because I think, only speaking for myself here, that we have been formulated in such a way by our upbringing to not exist for ourselves, but to exist for other people's validation. And again, that kind of macro scale, other people's validation is an abstract concept. There is no one to give you a gold star once you leave elementary school. Even if you become the best person ever, there are very few guaranteed reward systems in place that will make you feel like a good person. That is why the people who are conscious of the evil in the world, who are trying to do their best, are the first ones to burn out, because there is no reward system in place for doing the good thing. Because the fact of the matter is, our society does not reward good behavior. It punishes you for it. School brought us up to think the opposite. So the bad students were perhaps the smart ones after all. If they made the conscious decision to rebel, then maybe they saw early on why the system doesn't work for them. What do you think by good behavior? I mean, good behavior is altruistic behavior, right? Good behavior, we like to think, is when you act selflessly. When you give your all to improve other people's lives, when you build a community and share resources, when you are not greedy. Those are considered good behaviors. We like to view Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and all the other billionaires to be villains in our current day society. But are they really, or are they just the most slavish of our species? Slaves to the abstract ideals of what it means to be successful and powerful and rich. What is that going to do for them? Even as the have-nots in society, do we lose any more than they do in the end? Yes, we suffer more than they do because they have the resources to make their living days a lot more pampered.
but at least we get the satisfaction of not always being a public enemy. How do you measure these things? I'm not saying they're not evil people. I'm also not saying that they are evil people. I'm just saying they are people. This is what they do. This is all of our roles. I got on a mind-altering substance a week ago, and I was just like sitting there on my friend's couch, and he lives on the 30-something floor in Long Island City, and his view goes out to the bridge, one of the bridges, and I was watching the cars go by on the bridge. And it was a rainy day, and everything was very hazy and foggy, and all I could see was this very tranquil scene of little toy cars driving across the bridge at a very nice, even pace. And I thought, that looks a lot like holiday time store displays on Fifth Avenue where they have like train sets out and toy cars, and they're just all running on a track programmed. And I thought to myself in that moment, if what I'm seeing could be a toy setup, then what's preventing me from being a doll in a dollhouse? The same way I can perceive cars being toy cars, there's nothing to stop me from thinking I'm a doll sitting in a dollhouse. And at that moment, I was just like, maybe we don't have control. Maybe I was just placed here as a doll in the dollhouse. And I've never felt so peaceful in my adult life, thinking that I don't have a choice, thinking that I don't have options, thinking that I'm finally not responsible for what I do, where I am. Just surrendering to the inevitable placement of ourselves is a form of freedom. Very strange moment. Anyway, the pressure fell. Let's open it up. I don't actually know if the beans are cooked. Might have to go longer. Womp, 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 womp. Ooh, the barley looks mad good though. Yeah. Yeah. The potato, slice apart with a spoon. Fantastic. Fantastic. I love it. I love it. Look at this fat ass bean. That's a fat bean. Okay. Not bad. I'll just let it cool down on its own. You don't need a reward system to do the right thing? Then what makes it the right thing if you're not rewarded for it? I don't like Elon Musk. Are you saying I like Elon Musk? I don't even know the half of him. I know that my mom liked Elon Musk, but there's so much that I didn't agree with my mom, especially regarding politics. But I also don't think that you can
do anything for humanity. Like, what are you actually going to do for humanity? Are you going to make everyone live forever? What is going to make humanity better? What is going to make the experience of living better? This is beyond what one individual can do. Like, we have constructed a society that we cannot get ourselves out of. We have dug a mass grave for ourselves, and now we're just rolling in it until we actually die. Everything that you're doing to make it better for society is probably going to make it worse in the long term, because struggle is what makes things worse. I don't know. Maybe it's just my pessimistic streak. I don't think we can actually make society better. Society is beyond us. I think the only control I have over society is in recognizing that I don't have control, and just to exist. I am way too pessimistic. But is that a bad thing? I would be very interested to know why you think pessimism is a bad thing. I've been told my entire life that I'm too sad, too pessimistic, too negative. Why do we prize optimism? Why do we prize the idea of happiness? That's my question. I want to understand. Why do we choose to look at life as a net positive when we can't actually prove that it is? I think for once I might have under-seasoned this. Potentially. Be realistic, not pessimistic. Okay, can you tell me what realism is? Can you tell me what it means to be realistic? Are you saying there is an objective realism for everybody involved that I should conform to? I don't believe in one. But if you do, I'd be more than happy to hear you out. I would say the biggest molding factors of my life has been pain. Different kinds of pain too. Like social pain, in terms of being ostracized as an immigrant who didn't speak the language or the culture, who had no network. Physical pain in terms of going through extremely painful menstrual cycles, dysmenorrhea, having a kidney biopsy done at a very young age when I didn't understand what was happening to me. You understand too if you scraped your knee or something. It hurts. Life hurts. Psychic pain, psychological pain from depression, various factors. Could be biology, could be psychology, could be societal. Depression can be societally affected and impressed. Grief. These have all changed who I am as a person. I'm okay with the way that I've been changed as a result of my experience on Earth. I'm not okay with people labeling it as somewhat lesser or bad, because my experiences have led me to develop this pessimistic view. That my experiences have led me to being an unhappy and negative person. The value judgment is what causes friction. The inability of others to accept that this is my lived experience and that this is who I am now, and their constant need to fish me out and somehow save me. That's what bothers me. Because then it makes me feel broken. Then it assigns a value judgment to my experience. Because I think my experience unsettles them and threatens them and derails their happier fairy tales of what life is, of what life could be, of what life should be. It's a choice in a sense to walk around miserable and negative or try and be positive and do good, but just my very humble opinion. I don't disagree. I think we do have choice in how we react to situations. I don't understand why we encourage people to do one over the other. That's what I'm saying. Why can we not allow for diversity of life perspectives? Why does there need to be one strain of, well, this is the right way to think, and if you think otherwise, then maybe you should see a therapist? And why are we prescribing therapy to people that we feel like are in trouble rather than prescribing therapy to everyone so that we can come to know ourselves and each other better? Why do we almost seem to prescribe therapy as a form of judgment, condemnation, and punishment? Weirdly enough, like, it is supposed to save people and help them rework their perspectives to make life less insufferable. But we don't seem to go up to everyone to say, you need therapy, or you should be in therapy, or have you thought about therapy? Most of the time, it's only when the person who we seem to think as being in suffering mode, most of the time it's when they express a certain kind of perspective that threatens our feelings of well-being. And I would say that this is like the impulse to squash down the abject, in which we see in other people parts of ourselves that we want to ignore and leave behind and deny exists. If you don't try to be optimistic, it would be difficult to see the good in the world, how little there may be. No one is saying you have to be, just they want you to find happiness. It is a well wish. I understand. I'm not saying people are trying to hurt me by wishing me well. I'm just saying maybe it's time for us to shift perspectives a little bit and ask ourselves what this drive to find the good in life is actually doing for us. Because in seeking happiness and in seeking positivity, are we actually denying ourselves the same ability to just exist in whatever we feel? The same way we're resisting natural aging and natural physical decline and labeling it as something that is abject and wrong and something that needs to be stopped and reversed? Is this actually causing us friction? Is the valuation and the search for happiness causing us unhappiness? Because when we realize we're unhappy and we're told that we should be happy, that is making a problem arise. So just some thoughts to think about. We don't have to agree. Fascinating to think of all the different perspectives that exist. And you just have to find the one that works best for you. Because, like I like to say, you're the only one who has to live with you all the time. So whatever can give you the most peace, I hope you can find it. Michael asks, are you saying that we are chronically unhappy because we don't know, or better yet, we forgot what happy is? I don't know, maybe happy is just a fairy tale that we made up for ourselves. Maybe happy doesn't actually exist. Maybe the way that we've come to think of happiness doesn't exist. Maybe happy is just the same way we're starting to look at healthy now. You know, like when we say a food is healthy, by creating a standard of positivity, you are automatically generating a standard of negativity. By saying something is healthy, you're insinuating that something else is unhealthy. That to me is the real problematic. Joe says, don't try to be happy, try to find purpose instead. I mean, I'm also not going to agree with you there. I think life is pretty purposeless. Doesn't mean you can't make your own purposes. That's the beauty of having this brain, right? We pay for having this brain because we think too much, and it causes a lot of conflict and contradictions and uncertainty. But you can make your own purpose if you want one. A lot of people do. Elon has. Jeff has. You can too, if you want. But I don't think you need to find purpose. I don't think you need to do anything. I'll even push it to the extreme and say, yes, you can go around and just hurt other people. That would be your choice. Does it bring you happiness? I mean, I don't know. Some people are maybe really, really twisted and they do derive pleasure out of other people's pain. At the end of the day, our society already manipulates us and abuses us. And it's just built into our society that we don't feel it on an individual level. People who are suffering the most feel it way more than people who are at the very top of society. But it doesn't mean that abuse isn't built into our society. It totally is. I'm just lucky enough to not feel that societal abuse most of the time. And I can opt out of the abuse even because I have my privileges and I have my security nets all in place for now. But I don't think, maybe we can do away with the good and the bad. I don't think it's relevant anymore. I am not a Pisces. Do I seem like one? I've also been told that I'm very Scorpio-like. Can you give an example of societal abuse? There's a lot. Where should we start? All of it? Societal abuse encompasses almost everything. everything that we wish we could change, everything that you saw unveiling itself as hurtful systematically is a societal abuse. Law is a societal abuse. We don't have a say in what laws exist and are upheld. We also don't seem to have a say as general people who the laws are actually applied to. We are told that this is preserving order, but then we see police shooting people who have not been proven to be criminals, who are not threatening or actually violent, and nobody gets punished for killing people. We see law enforcement enforcing abuse and getting away with it. That's a societal abuse. We apparently live in a country that welcomes the tired and the poor. And I live in a city where 90% of the population is one paycheck away from being homeless. Societal abuse is when you realize none of the rules make sense and it's hurting a lot of people. And you pray to whatever God or being exists that you don't become one of them the next day. Societal abuse is when we go through education in different contexts and environments and we are taught things that are completely contradictory to the rules that we have set into place to apply to most of us. Where we are bamboozled into acting a certain way for the benefit of others. The same people who have the power to abuse us. And when we realize we've been Stockholm syndromed into this life and realize we can't exist outside of it, that even if we escaped, we will have nothing to go back to because we have been raised our entire lives to be alienated, then we are adrift in a world with so many choices and none of which matter. That's societal abuse. When you know that other people are suffering and you see other people are suffering and all you can do is witness it. Because after a few rounds, you've realized you can make no real impact. That's societal abuse. And the worst part of it is that if you're not the ones being hurt, you're probably partaking on some level in hurting others. That's societal abuse. And that's also self-abuse. Because if you're not at the victim end of it, you realize your hands are dirty. And you try your best to wash yourself clean by donating to causes, by encouraging other people to not do the bad things that hurt other people, but like, you can't. The blood is coming from inside your body. It's not outside. Societal abuse is like existential body horror. Like, you're trapped here and you see yourself transforming inside and out and you have no control. And you're just a captive audience. And somehow you realize that even if you go to war with all these nasty things that are hurting people, you might just not have an impact, even if you die for the cause. And some of us choose to fight all the way till the end, and our society plays into the abuse by labeling them heroes to give off the impression that our society still has some sort of morality of right and wrong. But morality is irrelevant in the world that we have lived and created and continue to reify. All values are imaginary. And if daylight savings didn't teach you that, I don't know what else could be a perfect example of how arbitrary our world is. Joe, I'm just glad that your glass is half full, right? You must be glad that your glass is half full. I'll take the glass half empty so you can have the glass half full. How about that? But at the end of the day, it's all the same half, isn't it? We all have the same amount of water if it's half and half. Freddie, hi. Do you think we will ever veer from self-interest? No, I hope we don't veer from self-interest, but I hope we can start to redefine what the self is. Because I think the way that we view the self is very myopic. Like, we're all very nearsighted right now. Like, this is the self, right? Like, this is the self. This is the self. Take care of this, and we're good to go. But that's not really how it works. That's actually the opposite of how it works. So I agree with Michael. What we all can do is make sure that we make both our lives and the lives of others less miserable by our actions. Sometimes you don't have to take an action to make it less miserable. Sometimes it's actually doing less that makes our lives less miserable. I think the more you try to do good, the more you reinforce the bad in a way. And maybe as powerless beings, all we can do is bear witness to the repeat of history. And you know, even if evil prevails and people die, realize that in the grand scheme of things, this has happened before and it will happen again. And this is just the way life goes. Instead of trying to make us better, maybe just stop making. Hi, Canada. Alright, folks, I'm gonna go finish my stupid Netflix movie. I hope you liked my rants. I hope you enjoyed Freddie. He's been such a good boy, haven't you? Haven't you? He's good boy. Treats! Treats! Meow, 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 meow. Okay, Freddie, I'll give you treats. I don't have HBO Max, but I really, really want to watch Barry. So for the next week, take care of yourselves. Don't overwork, unless, I guess, if you truly get joy out of it. But remember, we're all gonna die in the end.
So just listen to your body if you can and try to make life less miserable for yourselves. That's all you can do, right? Oh, and take your vitamins because I didn't do it yet. I'm gonna go take my vitamins. Thank you, Sarah. And thanks for tuning in. Freddie, say bye-bye.